Greetings, this is Cali Joe, dealing with net prison reform. I will first admit a simple truth. Prisons will never go away. They are an important part of our society to protect public safety. Though the sad reality is that people do procreate out in the public, in the free world, and they do have children. The important thing is what's best for our children and dealing with a parent's incarceration. And a great illustration is using myself and my own children. One, my son, who is in his mid-20s, I do not get to hear from, but he's doing well, and I hear about him through other family members. Then there's my daughter, who is an off-and-on relationship, and we do the best that we can. And I think the greatest thing she said yesterday is you don't need to hear from me daily. As long as you hear from me, that creates a healthy relationship. Though most prisoners would say they would love to have a daily access, and we now in North Carolina prisons have that ability with text behind, daily notification of mail, and also our getting out apps for texting family instantaneous connections. These new devices and abilities have improved drastically the mental health of the prison population. Can't say much for what it does for the family members who receive these, but I can only speak from my aspect of how it does improve the mental health in great numbers. And mental health is an important aspect of life right now because most often most individuals come to prison due to mental health problems. Very rarely will you ever see somebody without a mental health problem coming to the prison system, even if it's addiction from drugs. That is a combination of mental health and other variables that I am not a trained licensed clinician. I cannot answer those. But today we're going to really focus on what's in the best interest of our children. Article I have read where it focuses on Emily Ratajkowski and her mental health and her wellness. She addresses a pending family dispute issue of custody of children and how influencers such as herself, mainly women, because there is a bias that does exist against minorities and women that causes women to lose out because they may have a problem or, in some instances, a disability which they have no control over. Though I will say, when prior to incarceration was in family court, I remember the first thing a judge once told everybody in that court going through the process of separation, and that is, it's in the best interest of the child that the court views things. Now, in a court of public opinion, we have very different opinions, which I will not go into. And I will say the stances that I take would be dealing with what is best for ourselves, and we can use Brittany Griner as an example. And during the dramatic situation between the United States and Russia, where they were using her as a pawn and getting fiction out of such serious issues for 10 months, we dealt with it. And for 10 months, it opened the doors to Paul Whelan and Trevor Reed. We were able to help Trevor Reed, but yet help Whelan. The one thing that Brittany Griner did say is do not forget her and her accomplishments. Well, for the majority of most prisoners, prior to incarceration, they didn't have many accomplishments, and I can actually attest to that one. Since incarceration, many have made a lot of accomplishments. But the point in illustration was regarding don't forget who I am. And it's important to remember those who are incarcerated. It's important to remember those who are incarcerated also have children, and it's important to focus on the children of the incarcerated. Now, all children matter. It takes a village to raise a child. And though I will say, I will give confession to make that last night my daughter and I had an argument based on what I actually had desired of her to do in my hopes and dreams for her. But it fell to the side because she's her own person. And she doesn't need a father who's incarcerated telling her fatherly advice when I did not raise her. And she is correct. And though that might hurt to say that, I had to back down and back off and realize she is her own person. Did not raise her, though I might have been there for the procreation of her. I was not there for the rest of it. And after 14 years of incarceration of her coming into my life, I had no place or authority to ask anything of her. And that is something that one of the mansplaining. And in mansplaining, we tend to go, ooh. And so in dealing and in stepping back from what I was encouraging my daughter to do, I decided the best thing was what was best for her. And because of my request for her was affecting her in her walk in life, I had to step back. So for most often, for those who actually are unfamiliar with family life of the incarcerated, it is a big area that needs to be focused on. Again, we cannot defund the prison system just as much as we cannot defund any other kind of governmental entity or even education system, because our prison systems are important to protect public safety. And though I sit here today and I'm wondering, what can I give to somebody in society free control of all information? And that is simply a direction in revitalizing and reforming access for parents and children beyond just simple in-person visits. And going with the North Carolina model of how things are done, I cannot speak on other states, but the access of instantaneous communication by texting, the access of near instant communication by the service of text behind because of the issue that was beyond the scope of this conversation that led to text behind and no longer having mail come through the postal service. Those important reasons and those important devices are crucial to the mental health of an inmate, but also equally crucial to those in society who may have feel abandoned by family members who are incarcerated because their incarceration number. And so, to any child of any incarcerated, I would say, you matter. And remember that. To any person who's ever been incarcerated, such as Jonathan Irons, who is a advocate for prison reform now, along with Maya Moore, I can say your experiences on the level of how you witness your community while incarcerated deal with family issues and the difficulties of that, especially when they involve children. For most, holidays are a hard time for prisoners. That is the most times you'll see the biggest amount of conflicts happen because this oneself to other people will lead to lashing out. And when you lash out against another who's also in similar situation, it creates kind of a large kerfuffle. So I will only say, in regards to family and those who are incarcerated, we must work towards striving to improve all prison systems, prison reform, and having this open discussion, free of bias and free of our personal views of what we like or dislike about somebody who might be a victim of a former incarcerated, and look from the standpoint of, though the aggressor harmed a victim, at one point they came to the prison to improve their lives, and during the improving of their lives should come a certain reward of no longer being seen as demonized or evil, but as a rehabilitated individual with all.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
And that is the limit of our show today. And please forgive my autism. My communication is kind of difficult today. Until next time, and may you continue on networking.